Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news in the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. And as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. We'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. Today, we're going to talk about Canelo Alvarez gets suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. We'll have the latest on that. And Robert, is your boy Anthony Joshua about to become the $500 million man? I don't know. We'll find out. But first, we get started with HBO across the pond, Dillian Whyte versus Lucas Browne. Dillian Whyte scored a big 6th-round KO over unbeaten Lucas Browne on Saturday night at the O2 in London. Whyte dominated this fight from the beginning. He was just a better boxer, man. Browne's only chance in this fight was to land that big right hand. But Whyte was just too good, man. He was too good to get caught with it. Browne, just kind of a he wasn't moving a lot. He looked drained in this fight. And I don't know how much of that had to do with Dillian Whyte and how much of that had to do with Browne. He didn't look great in this fight, put it that way. Whyte landed a monster left hook that put Browne out cold, face first. And he was done. I mean, he landed face first. Whyte was landing right hands all night, but it was the left that finally put him away. Whyte is the #1 contender for the WBC belt and called out Deontay Wilder after the fight. Beeb, what were your thoughts on this?
I actually picked Browne to win this fight because I thought he would be able to land at least one or two of those big right hands, and I thought that would turn the fight. I was sorely mistaken because Whyte was the one that was really a sharpshooter with the right hand. And because of it, Browne consistently had to focus on trying to block it or evade it, which he had a hard time doing, and he really didn't do it at all in the fight. So because of that left hook, which was the finishing blow, he wasn't prepared for that because he was so focused on the right hand. Dillian Whyte looked sharp, got off first. He went in and out. He's very strategic, very tactical. Fought aggressively when he created the openings, when he set up the openings for himself. But he did not allow Browne to control this fight in any way. Did not allow Browne to make it an ugly fight. Did not allow Browne to maul him up against the ropes, because when his back did touch the ropes, he spun out. He fought off the ropes. And they were saying, Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley, that Whyte wasn't a big puncher, that he couldn't, take Browne out with one shot. And ironically enough, that's just what happened. He did take him out with a killer left hook. And it was a scary knockout. Let's, to say the least. It was a very, very scary knockout. And it's funny, too. I'm going to kind of switch gears here a little bit, because Whyte did call out Deontay Wilder, and he's been very vocal about wanting to fight Deontay Wilder. And Eddie Hearn's pretty cool with it. Everyone's cool with it. He was yelling, hooting, and hollering. But for some reason, when Deontay Wilder calls out Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn's like, well, I don't know why he's getting so animated, excited about it. Why, he's calling him out, why he has to challenge us like that, blah, blah, blah. The fight's not even signed yet. But it's okay when Dillian Whyte is so, hell-bent on trying to get Deontay Wilder in the ring. So it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So, like I said, I want to see that Joshua fight. And Dillian Whyte did put on a scintillating performance. But, should he go in there with Deontay Wilder? I mean, he's ranked #1. Will the WBC mandate that, or will they allow negotiations for a Wilder-Joshua fight to take place?
100% sure. Yeah, 100% sure they'll mandate the.
Yeah,
they'll let negotiations go for that fight. There's a lot of money there.
There's a lot of money on the line for that. So I'm hoping that they don't mandate the Whyte fight, so it gives time to possibly, I'm crossing my fingers, hopefully get this Joshua Wilder fight at the end of the year. But Whyte deserves a big fight. Who that's against next, I don't know. Will it be Wilder? That's questionable. Will it be the winner of Joshua Parker? That's even more possible as opposed to Deontay Wilder. Who knows? We'll see. Because after that performance, he deserves something big. Because you could say what you want, he was favored to win the fight, but I don't think anyone thought he was going to win that easily, that dominating fashion that he did. Because a lot of people were saying that this was going to be a tough fight for him, regardless. Even though they thought he would win if they picked him, they still thought that he would have a tough time. That Browne's power was real, and that would be something that he'd have to watch out for. So this was a great performance. I think he was on the big stage in HBO. He did exactly what he needed to do. This was exactly what the doctor ordered, and this is going to really open some doors for him. I really believe so.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he looked good, and he's on what they say, like a 6-7 fight winning streak.
Yes.
Yes. Joshua, and he rocked Joshua in that fight. I mean, Whyte can hit. Whyte is a good fighter, man. Whyte is definitely a good fighter. I don't give him much of a chance though against Joshua the second time around, and I don't give him much of a chance against Wilder. I think he outboxes Wilder for as long as that lasts, but I think ultimately he gets caught with a right hand. And he can be knocked out for sure. What were your thoughts on Lucas Browne? I mean, he hit the deck pretty hard. He was at the hospital later on. Reports are he's okay. They were getting some scans or whatever, but he's okay. I think it's all like preliminary and precautions and everything. It's a big left hand that put him out.
Yeah.
Is Lucas Browne, and he started boxing at 30, he's 39.
Yeah.
This has got to be, I mean, he's probably got a couple more fights, but he's not going to enter that upper echelon, correct?
100% correct. And I will say this too, with all due respect to Lucas Browne, this was a big fight for him. It was probably a decent payday for him. He was fought on HBO in front of a lot of people. Probably fought. I believe this fight was most likely televised on Sky across the pond as well.
Yeah.
This was a great opportunity for him, but at the end of the day, he's not making a lot of money. He's getting older, and that punch looked like a punch that could be career altering. You see some fighters, they're just never the same after a specific knockout, because it only takes one punch to really change your life. That one punch could have caused irreparable damage. It looked like it was that devastating. Again, I'm not a doctor, but that could be one of those shots that is career altering. And I don't know if he'll ever recover from that. And the thing is, why go on if you're not going to make a lot of money? I mean, he doesn't have the big following behind him, doesn't have that style, doesn't have that persona where people are going to flock to him. It's not like he's Butterbean and they can put him on these 4-round exhibitions and he's going to make a lot of money doing so. That's not the same situation. I don't think that's going to happen. So for the sake of his safety, I think that it may be wise to probably have to sit down and think about what he's going to do next.
Yeah, he's not going to make, I mean, and I don't even know if it was that left hand that got him. Yeah, that ended his career. I think it may have been those rights that he was taking all night. I mean, Whyte was smashing it with right hands all night. That's why I was shocked when it was a left hand that ultimately got him out. I think that he probably saw most of those rights coming, but that left hand.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he was being sliced apart with the right hand all night. And Dillian Whyte didn't really throw a ton of left hooks. He didn't have to. He was just 1-2ing them to death. So and Dillian Whyte does have a killer left hook. And I was saying to myself, I'm surprised he's not throwing the punch more. But then I also said to myself, why does he need to? He's getting the job done with the right hand. So that shows a great deal of intelligence on Whyte's part to slip that punch in there. And it was a really short, crisp, sneaky, perfectly timed and perfectly placed punch. And also White hasn't looked great in his last couple of performances, but you know what? You know what they say: you're only as good as your last performance. So this could probably erase a lot of that and make people forget about those other performances and kind of focus on this.
Right.
This was a highlight. This was a knockout of the year. Right now, I'm going to have to say this was knockout of the year. In my opinion.
Yeah, it was brutal. I mean, it was brutal. And I'll tell you, I enjoyed the fight. I did. I enjoyed the fight.
And I will say this. People are going to say, yeah, it was one-sided. But let me ask you this question. Weren't you kind of saying that, sitting on the edge of your seat saying, what if Browne, because Browne was getting close a few times.
Yeah,
you're saying, what if he does land one of those big haymakers? Like, that was in the back of my mind that was still probable. Or not probable, but possible, I should say. That one of those big haymakers could turn the fight, because they can when you're looking at a fighter like Browne. We've seen it happen before. So that's why, he was still getting close. He was still landing a little bit. Couldn't really land flush and perfectly, but he was coming forward, applying pressure. And it looked like in the 4th or 5th round that he was starting to push White back a little bit. But then White grabbed the reins and took control of the fight once again. But that was always possible, and it was always in the back of my mind, kept me on the edge of my seat that could happen. And that also made this fight fun to watch, because I was on pins and needles seeing if that was going to happen. Yeah. Sort of like what George Foreman did to Michael Moore.
Yeah, exactly. And, everybody, we talk about the Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder fight all the time and whether it's going to happen or not. Look, I think the writing's on the wall, and anybody who doesn't buy into it, I mean, just, you're not paying attention. The fight's not happening next. That fight's not happening next.
Doesn't look like it
not
is.
Going to happen. Not going to happen next. So there's no use in getting bent about it. That's why, Dillian Whyte versus Deontay Wilder makes sense next. I mean, that's a fight to me that makes sense next. I want to see Joshua Wilder, but it's not happening next. So there's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing we can do about that. I mean, it is what it is. Robert, what were your thoughts on Whyte versus Browne?
Whyte did what he was supposed to do, and since Beeb won't say it, I'll say it. Browne is done. Okay? That knockout yesterday reminded me of Juan Manuel Marquez hitting Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
And let's face it. Let's face it. Manny Pacquiao has not been the same since that occurred. Agreed?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Pacquiao's been slipping for years, even before that, I thought. But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
my point is, once you get hit with something like that, you never fully recover. And I think it would be.
But to be fair,
Browne to sit back and take a look at his life and say, I need to do something else. Boxing has been very good to me, but I lost to a future champion. Because you never know about this heavyweight division. White could pull off, an upset. I don't see it happening, but. And I also agree with you, Eric. As much as we want to see Joshua and Wilder next, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the rumors that we've been hearing about Joshua fighting Big Baby Miller next is a possibility. Yeah. And I think they've just found Wilder's next opponent. But and talking about something else that you said, Beeb, the Ortiz fight was a mandatory for Wilder. So I don't think the WBC would mandate another mandatory.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He just fought a mandatory. That's why I said that.
But if I'm Wilder, you know what? I fight Dillian Whyte, because hasn't Eddie Hearn called for Wilder to fight Whyte in the past?
Yeah. Well, let me just say this though, and I think it is a smart move to fight. I think it is a smart move to fight Whyte next, because there's nowhere else that if Wilder takes out Whyte, it almost cements his fight with Joshua, because who does Joshua fight next? I mean, people say Fury, but Fury's not ready. There's no way he's going to be ready. He's going to need at least 2 to 3 fights to be ready. Okay, so that fight is not going to happen next. And then people could say, well, maybe he'll fight the winner of Hay Bellew. Bellew's not going to fight him. And if Hay wins,
Nope.
That's why we have to hope Hay doesn't win, because that's one fight that could sneak in there.
Yeah.
Joshua versus David Hay.
And it's
But
big.
if Bellew wins, then and Joshua, if Wilder beats White, there's nothing else. It has to happen. It puts him in a almost bulletproof position where he cannot be denied the fight after beating White. You know?
I could see a scenario. Guys, where Wilder fights White, Joshua fights Big Baby Miller. You put them on the same card, and that way that's a build up to a Wilder Joshua fight, say early next year.
Well, someone in the chat just made a great point, and it kind of slipped my mind, because I was aware that Povetkin is going to be the number one contender if he beats. He's fighting David Price, and that's going to be for I think the number one. I think Povetkin is ranked number one, but by the WBA. So that's a fight that could happen. That's a dangerous fight for Joshua if Povetkin pulls through against David Price, which I think he will. So that fight I think is for. I'm not gonna say it's an eliminator, but the winner of that fight would be the mandatory. I believe, for Joshua, because I don't think Joshua's fought a mandatory yet.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he has.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I wonder why people are talking about Miller and Joshua. Then is Miller ranked?
But I have to correct you on one thing you said earlier. Luis Ortiz was not the mandatory. Luis Ortiz was not the mandatory because he was not ranked number one by the WBC. He was not the mandatory.
Well, thank you. I don't mind being corrected. I'm not.
Yeah, he was ranked like three. I think he was ranked like number 3 or 4. I know that for a fact.
Okay.
All right.
Well.
Yeah. The other thing too is that Deontay Wilder is a guest of Sky. Is that correct, Beeb?
Correct. Yeah.
Not with the Showtime crew, right? As we reported last week.
Okay. All right. Well, good. At least he'll be there. You know.
Yeah, he'll be there for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see here. All right, let's talk about the undercard. And for anybody who cares, March Madness, Duke and Kansas are in overtime. I think Duke is ahead by 1. So don't have the score in front of me right now, but it's on commercial. So there you go. We'll keep you updated. In overtime, I think there was like 2 minutes left or something like that. All right, on the undercard here, Callum Johnson versus Frank Buglioni. Callum Johnson knocks out Frank Buglioni in the first round. Not a big surprise. Johnson won. I was kind of surprised how he won, though. Buglioni is kind of a solid fighter. I was kind of surprised. So there you go. Lewis Ritson versus Scott Cardle was also on the undercard of Whyte Browne, which was not televised. Lewis Ritson wins via TKO in the second round over Scott Cardle. I was asked by Craig Simmons on Twitter to review the fight. Honestly, Ritson looks good. He's 15-0, and Cardle was unbeaten coming in. It's a good win for him. It really was. I mean, Cardle's a good fighter, man. My thing with him is he's still developing. This is with Ritson. He's still developing, but he needs to get his defense corrected before he can think about moving to the next level, man. Easter, Linares, and Garcia are all lightweight champions. He would have a tough time against any one of them right now. He definitely has an upside, but he's still, for my money, man, he's about 5 to 6 fights away from a legit title shot. I don't think he can hang with any one of those guys now. I think in 2 fights, he still won't be able to hang. So he's still got a ways to go. And it's okay because he's only 15-0. But he's looking good. He's looking good for sure. Across the pond in Germany, Tyrone Zeuge versus Isaac Ekpo. Zeuge scored a second round KO over Isaac Ekpo to retain his WBA 168-pound regular title. Go figure that one out. And the Golden Boy card, Ryan Garcia knocked out Fernando Vargas in the first round. I don't know what Golden Boy is doing, but their cards suck. I mean, they are horrible. These remind me of like the Tuesday night fights or the ESPN late night Friday fights. I can't even believe they televised these. These are terrible cards. They're terrible. They got one coming up. Well, I think it was on Saturday or something on ESPN too. It's another Golden Boy special. They're awful.
Yeah, from Boston.
They are awful.
Yep.
What is he doing over there? I mean, they're just prospect cards. I mean, they're just prospect cards. You got Canelo, and that's it. You're putting all your backing behind Canelo. Wonderful, but I mean, come on, man. Jeez.
Well, that's the thing, because he's using HBO as his source to televise major fights. Like Linares is on HBO, Canelo's on HBO. Lemieux's he's usually on HBO when he fights. But this is kind of like his farm team network. But the thing is this: ESPN shouldn't be a farm team network. I mean, do what Bob Arum's doing. Bob Arum is putting his mainstay fighters, his big names on ESPN.
Right.
ESPN is a bigger platform than HBO. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't understand what Oscar's doing.
Yeah, I don't get it. Let's go to the upcoming fights. March 31st, which is Saturday, correct, Robert?
Yep.
All right.
5:00.
This is beautiful. From Quincy, Massachusetts, Beeb, your stomping grounds.
That's right. May have to make our appearance down there.
That's right. ESPN2 or ESPN Deportes, as Robbie only watches. Golden Boy Special. Mark DeLuca versus Michael Moore, 10 rounds junior middleweights. And Jason Quigley versus Daniel Rosario, 8 rounds middleweights. Cannot wait to not watch that. Now, on March 31st in the evening, 5:00, I'm being told, on Showtime from Cardiff, Wales, Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker, 12 rounds for the IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight title. Alexander Povetkin on the undercard against David Price. And Ryan Burnett versus Janfrez Parejo, 12 rounds for Burnett's WBA bantamweight title. That should be a good fight, too. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to show either one of those two fights. We'll have to catch them on.
No, they're not, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll have to catch them on stream or something like that. But yeah, those are Ryan Burnett. That's a pretty good fight right there with him and Parejo. Let's talk about Joshua and Parker. I think we all feel that Joshua is going to win this fight. I think that's kind of because that's pretty much it for the weekend, by the way. But I think we all think Joshua is going to win this fight. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but I think Joshua wins this, and I think he wins it inside the distance. I think he knocks him out within 10 rounds. I don't think it's going to be quite as easy as everybody thinks. I mean, they think that Joshua is going to go in there and steamroll him. I think that Parker has got a lot of pride. I think Parker's got a lot of skill, and I think Parker puts up a fight. I just think Anthony Joshua's got more skill. And I think that's the way it's going to go down. I think that he puts him away. Robert, what's your thoughts on this fight?
Well, and I've been reading articles recently. Apparently, Joseph Parker had surgery done on both of his elbows. And from what they say in camp, he's been hitting sparring partners a lot harder. His punches seem to be a lot harder than what they used to be. No, I agree. I think Joshua's going to win, but I also wonder if Joshua has been kind of distracted with all the Deontay Wilder talk. You know, we talked about it last week about him telling Eddie Hearn, I don't want Wilder in the ring. I don't want this. I don't want that. You know, are you putting the cart before the horse, and are you going to overlook somebody that you shouldn't overlook? It might turn out to be a better fight than what we think it's going to be. I agree. I think Joshua will win. I think he'll eventually knock him out. But if all the reports that I've been reading are true and Parker has improved his punching ability and the surgery helped him out, this could go the distance. So this all of a sudden could be a 50-50 fight. We might be in for a better thing than what we're looking for. So I'm going to stick with Joshua winning, but I'm just wondering, is he overlooking Parker, or is Parker going to show up and be a better fighter than what we think he is?
I don't think he's overlooking Parker. What I am a little bit disturbed about is Eddie Hearn was complaining that the news of his elbow surgery wasn't revealed to him. But I don't know if that has to be revealed to Eddie. If he got cleared by the doctors and he had successful surgery, Why does Eddie have to worry about something like that? Because now Eddie's concerned that if he loses, he can say it's because of his elbows. But Joseph Parker has been fighting fine. You know what I mean? His last fight, he fought fine against against Fury. I thought he did. I thought he won almost just about every round in that fight. I had scored him, victorious by a wide margin. So I don't know why Eddie's complaining about that. But may I ask you guys a question? And people in the chat can chime in if they want to too. Do you think that Anthony Joshua is starting to turn into a diva now, by the way he's been acting, by the way he's been talking, and the dismissive attitude that he's shown towards Deontay Wilder? Forget about the distraction. Do you think this leaves a bad taste in a lot of fans' mouths? And I probably won't hurt him on the UK side, but I'm still a fan per se, but now I'm starting to get a little bit irritated by this current behavior, and I'm starting to get turned off by it. And I wouldn't even be disappointed now if Joseph Parker turns out and ends up beating Joshua now, because I'm starting to not like this diva attitude. It seems like it's a very condescending attitude, and I'm just not liking it. I'm not happy about it. What do you guys think?
Reese Mack in the chat says he kind of hopes that Parker wins now. I think there is something to that. I think that here's the deal, man. Joshua, and I think we're just catching it now, and maybe it's just coming to the surface now. I don't think Joshua has turned into a diva. I think Joshua's been a diva for quite some time. I think he really has. Okay. He's the guy that doesn't give interviews. He's not, you're not going to catch him on an interview with, he only does the big networks and stuff like that. He only does the big guys. Very rarely does he come on places and stuff like that. And very rarely does he do interviews. Now, of course, that changes from fight to fight, but up until now, he doesn't do, unless you catch him at an arena or something like that. You might be able to catch one there or at a press conference, but he's not donating his time to come on somewhere. That's a big deal, and especially for a fighter. He's getting sponsors. He's getting, what is it, Under Armour. He's got the Under Armour. He's got he's a bit of a diva. I think
a few things going on for himself, but also too, Eddie's even gone on record saying how he loves how Wilder promotes himself. He's out there. He's everywhere. He's talking. And he said, I wish I could get Anthony Joshua to do stuff like that.
Right.
And he said, I don't really need him to, because I take care of that stuff. But, he even he pointed it out that Joshua's really not a guy that likes to go out there and do a lot of stuff in terms of promotion. He likes to do the boxing end, and that's it. And when you get big, when you become big and you become a star, it's more than just the boxing stuff. You got to do the promotion stuff. You got to get out there. You got to be personable, and seems like Joshua just doesn't want to do that stuff. And admittedly, Eddie Hearn has confirmed that he doesn't like to do that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a diva. Go ahead, Robert.
I'm really bothered by what he's doing. Because I have always believed, and I guess until somebody changes my mind, that he is the best heavyweight out there. But part of being the best heavyweight out there is giving interviews, talking to people, and being the person that look, we've had Deontay Wilder on our podcast. We're never going to get Anthony Joshua, but we've had Deontay Wilder. I mean, if you call up Deontay Wilder and say, hey, can you give us an interview? He'll want to know what time and when do I have to be there, he doesn't dodge questions. He may not want to give you some of the answers you want to hear, but Wilder doesn't say no to people. And it sounds like Joshua, unless you've got something significant to offer him, and it's like, well, you're not big enough for me, and that is bothersome. So in a way, it would be kind of interesting if Joseph Parker came in on Saturday night and totally messed up everybody's plans.
I tell you, it could happen. I mean, it really could. I mean, Joseph Parker's, and everybody, everybody's dismissing him and everything, and I'm not picking him to win. But I've got enough respect for him to say, hey, does he have a chance here? Yeah, he's got a chance. Yeah, absolutely, he's got a chance. He's stepping in the ring. He's got a chance, you know? You're not talking about some schlep here. This is the world champion. He's a legit contender. He's a legit world champion. He's got a chance, man, for sure. You know, how big of a chance? I don't know. We'll have to see, you know? But, yeah, he's for sure got a chance, man. What do you guys think of Povetkin, David Price? I don't even think Povetkin should even be playing right now. What is that? I mean, what's going on here? I mean, I think he beats Price. Then he's what is he, the mandatory now for Joshua?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. Well,
Wow.
yeah, he's been ranked #1 for a little while now, and as I said, Joshua has not fought his mandatory, to my knowledge. If anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know of any mandatory, because Takama was not a mandatory. So I don't know. I think that if Povetkin wins, then he could be the mandatory challenger, and that could be enforced. But I don't know. You never know in this sport of boxing what's going to happen. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, look
Right.
at
It's just crazy.
who was the guy for, what was it, Adonis Stevenson title that's been waiting for 2 years, you know?
Yeah.
The WBA is not
Alvarez.
as bad. The WBA is not as bad as the WBC. I mean, they tend to enforce their mandatories. They're not going to sit there and play around like the WBC does. The WBC is notorious for having these interim champions, these 10 eliminators. WBA doesn't usually do stuff like that. Neither does the IBF. So we'll see.
Yeah. Quick update on the March Madness. Kansas wins 85-81 over Duke. They become now the last Final Four team in. So there you go. The Final Four is set for next Saturday. There it is. And then who was the last one there? Who was the last fight on there? That was Ryan Burnett. Yeah, Ryan Burnett versus Yanfres Parejo. I don't think this is going to be televised, but if you get a chance, stream it. I like Burnett a lot, so we'll see what goes on there. All right. Let's move on to our news and rumors here, because we got a lot to go over here. This is actually the big portion of the show right here. We start with our train wreck of the week, Beeb. It's time.
Brianna, you ready? Brianna, hurry up. We need you. Train wreck right now. We're starting it off early. Before you get in the tub, we need you. Go ahead.
Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
Very good.
Good job.
Very
Excellent.
good.
Thank you.
Wow. So much better than Beeb. So much better than Beeb. Canelo Alvarez gets suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The middleweight championship rematch between Triple G and Canelo Alvarez, scheduled for May 5th, could be in jeopardy after the Nevada State Athletic Commission temporarily suspended Alvarez on Friday to further investigate circumstances surrounding his recent positive tests, plural, tests, for a banned substance. That's 2 tests. Tom Loeffler said the commission had to follow its rules and temporarily suspend Canelo because of the tests, but we're waiting for April 10th to see what the final ruling is. Gennady is still training and wants to fight on May 5th. Hopefully it will be against Canelo. Canelo will have a hearing on April 10th, and there has been 2 failed drug tests by Canelo. Guys, what do you think? Is he a cheater? Is he not a cheater? Is it really tainted meat? Did he go to a bad Taco Bell down there? What's the story? Beeb, talk to me.
I think it's fair for us to be skeptical about it. I think it's more than fair. And they're not even having an investigation. They're having a hearing. Okay? Bob Bennett likes to do these little hearing things. So I think this is a PR stunt. It's just something to save face. It's just something they can fall back on to say, see, we had a hearing. We had a talking to. So what is actually this hearing gonna do? Like, what does it entail, this hearing? Does he have to provide evidence? Does he have to come up with places that he's eaten so that they could do the same type of investigation that was done when the Mexican soccer team, a lot of their athletes tested positive for traces of the clenbuterol in their system. So they went and they did an investigation. They told them that we stayed at this hotel, we ate at this restaurant while we were here. So they went in and they checked the meat at that restaurant, and lo and behold, they found that the meat was contaminated. Is Canelo going to have to do the same thing? Is he going to have to provide the same information? So, to be fair to Golovkin, he needs to know these things. He needs to know that there's a thorough investigation, not just someone's word. You're going to take someone's word for it because, again, not to beat a dead horse, and forgive me for sounding redundant, we've seen other Mexican boxers who are ranked by the WBC or they were champions of the WBC use the same excuse. So you're not going to sit there and tell me that in the back of his mind, he can't be saying to himself, you know what? I could just say the same thing they said. They got off. Why wouldn't I get off? And he's not really part. He's not part of the clean boxing program, the WBC VADA clean boxing program, because if you recall, he's been at odds with the WBC for a while, and they're back in each other's good graces now. Now they've kissed and made up. So now, just for this particular fight, we know that he was VADA tested, but he was never part of the clean boxing program where he was tested outside of training, outside of having a fight signed. So people say, well, what difference does it make? He didn't start camp yet. But as I said in a video I made earlier in the week, when these guys are taking substances that, while they're not in camp, in their off season, so to speak, it gives them the advantage that they could come into camp halfway there, or even more than halfway there. They can come into camp at a pretty respectable weight, or a weight where a conditioning level that's higher than they normally would be. So they get a head start. And camp is more strategy based. It's more technique based as opposed to conditioning based. So you have 8 weeks to work on those specifics and less of the conditioning aspect of the camp. So that's why a lot of these athletes will be on these drugs before the camp even starts in the off season. So to me, I strongly suspect that he was tapering off. It was at the end. He wasn't expecting to be tested at this particular time. He wasn't expected to be tested before camp started or so far out from camp starting. Maybe he miscalculated. Maybe he anticipated that it would be out of his system by the time camp started, before testing even started, and he got popped. I honestly suspect strongly that he took the drug. And everyone's sitting there saying they don't understand what this drug does. I don't want to keep repeating myself because I explained it, in a couple of shows ago. Yeah, it's a fat burner. Yeah, it helps fighters make weight, but it is a bronchodilator. It helps with stamina, endurance, and it allows you to train harder, longer. Everything that can help a boxer. I know people, you take caffeine, you take ephedra, green tea, yerba mate, yohimbe bark. All these are stimulants, white willow bark. All these are stimulants. So take the effects of those drugs, okay, and times that by 10, because this drug is immensely stronger than all those drugs I just mentioned. So imagine the benefit that this drug can give an athlete, an endurance athlete, a boxer, a bicyclist. This drug has a lot of benefits. And he looks bigger. He's always looked big and thick, but now he looks ripped. He's gotten bigger, but he's ripped. He's like really solid. He's got that hard look to him. All of the symptoms or all of the clues that would give away that he's taking a drug similar to this. Who knows what else he's on? He could be on equipoise for all we know. He could be on HGH. But the evidence is there. The clues are there. You're looking at his body. It's big, but it's hard. It's shredded. It's lean. It's quality mass, and that's what this drug ensures. It burns fat, but it does not attack the muscle mass. Everything that this guy needs, everything this guy could use, everything that would be beneficial for him in the fight of his life. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think that I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, how do we, again, if we're gonna have, I mean, how easy is it to use the meat as an excuse? I mean, it's completely easy, but let's think about this here for a minute. Put it in rational terms here. You're fighting for millions of dollars, and not just a purse, because he gets cuts of everything. He gets kickbacks. He gets this. He gets that. He gets a piece of everything over there. You're fighting, all right. He's out there and he's fighting for all this money. He's got a lot of stuff on the line. I think he's got to promote. Doesn't he even like a promotional company as well? I think Canelo Promotions.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of stuff on the line. Knowing that some of the meat in Mexico could cause you to test positive, the beef or whatever it is, and Mexico can cause you to test positive for this and jeopardize all that. And you go ahead and do it. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it.
And Eric, another quick side note to mention. Steroids and performance-enhancing drugs are not illegal in Mexico. You can buy them over the counter.
Right.
Okay? But not only that, technically this drug is not illegal in the United States either. You can purchase this drug. You can't use it in a competitive sport, but any one of us can buy this drug.
Now let me ask you, because I remember you saying this. Now, clenbuterol, you can't just go buy clenbuterol. It's definitely mixed with something, because you were talking about like Primatene.
That I sent you that because that was basically a synthetic version of it. But what I did send that to you for was because I wanted you to read the sentence that clenbuterol itself is not illegal. You can get it
right
without having anything. Now I will be clear on this. It is not in America. Human beings are not. It's not legal for us to ingest it because they buy it for cattle. They do buy it for horses. You're able to give it to horses who have asthma and stuff like that. It can be used for asthma in animals. So it can be used for veterinarian uses. But you don't have to sit there and explain why you're buying it. You can buy it, and you could say, I have a horse. I have any type of animal that I can give this to. You don't have to come up with an excuse as to why you're buying it. Wow. Just like when you go buy a gun, you don't have to tell them I want this for self-defense. I want this for hunting. I want to go shoot targets.
Right.
So technically, it's not legal for human beings to take it in the United States, but we are still able to purchase it. It's one of the easiest drugs to get. It's one of the easiest drugs to get. But technically, yeah, it is illegal for us to ingest it, but we can buy it. We can buy it it's used for horses and stuff like that. It was when it first came out, it was a veterinarian drug. Like a lot of these drugs were used on animals before they were used on humans. That was the main purpose of these drugs in the first place, or for people who are very, very sick. It's not made for healthy individuals to take. But yeah, you can buy this drug. It is legal to buy it.
Robert, what are your thoughts on this?
First of all, did you know, Beeb, that Canelo doesn't even have to show up at the hearing? All of his representatives have to be there.
Yes.
I don't know who that means, but he doesn't have to be there. I find this whole hearing thing very, very suspicious. Do I think he did something wrong? Yeah, I do. I hope Gennady has a backup plan, although I don't trust Bob Bennett. I think Bob Bennett will find a way to allow this fight to go on because there's a lot of money involved. But I don't really trust this whole process. It's It's very sketchy to me. It's very suspicious. They didn't have a hearing for Eric Morales. They didn't have a hearing for Francisco Vargas. This is just, I totally agree with what Beeb said. I think it's a stunt. And we're going to say, hey, we had a hearing, but I don't know what's going to be accomplished. But I don't know. Why would you blow a big payday like this? And I know we're going to get to it here in a minute, but I also agree with what Triple G had to say this week. He said, hey, I think he was using before we fought the first time. He said, I could tell that he must have been on something when we were fighting the first time. So, you know, I wonder how long Canelo has been doing this stuff. You know, but I don't think this suspension is going to mean a damn thing. I think the fight will continue. I think they'll find a way to cover themselves. And I find the whole process to be very suspicious. And with the fact the fight's going to be in Vegas, that's another thing I don't trust about it. We don't know what kind of judges we're going to get. I don't know. This smells really bad to me.
Well, you have a good point. Go ahead, Beeb. I'm sorry.
I apologize, Eric. I'm so sorry. One final point that I think really has to get hammered home here. You hear so much of these athletes, you know, unknowingly taking these drugs. In a lot of instances, that's their excuse. I took a supplement. I didn't know that this was in it. I was eating this meat. I didn't know that this was in it. But one thing that's getting lost in translation here is, even though it very well could have been a mistake in certain situations with these athletes, they are still getting the benefit of having these drugs in their systems. Okay? So it's like, I used the analogy or the example earlier when we were talking, Eric. You accidentally kill someone by mistake. You're shooting a gun or whatever, someone, for some reason, you're hunting or whatever, you shoot someone by mistake. That's manslaughter, right? You're driving your car. There's a traffic sign. It's in a bad spot. You can't see it. You still don't adhere to what that traffic sign says. You get pulled over. You're still getting a ticket 9 times out of 10. So is ignorance is no excuse for breaking a law in any sector of life. So why is ignorance an excuse here? Why does ignorance automatically let an athlete off? And all the while, they are still gaining the benefits, right? And they still have gained the benefits for the time they were on the substances. So there's no punishment. I could just say the dog ate my homework and I'm free and in the clear. That's something we have to really think about, that I don't think is even being discussed or has been discussed. That's immensely important. And Triple G has every right to complain. Stephen A. Smith, I was disgusted at his commentary saying, oh, he should just shut his mouth. He's going to blow the fight. Why should he accept getting in the ring and have an unfair, illegal advantage bestowed upon him? And then Stephen A. Smith has the gall to turn around and say, well, what does Canelo have to lose? He could just go fight someone else and make the same amount of money because he's the money man. He's the A-side. This is Stephen A. Smith, a supposed respected analyst, talking like this. What does he have to lose? He has to lose the chance to win the middleweight title of the world, one of the most prestigious titles in sports. The middleweight division is not the heavyweight division, but it's always been the glamour division in the sport of boxing. You're going to have the opportunity to beat the lineal champion, not the lineal champion, the perceived champion, the person that everyone looks at as the man in your division. You're going to be competing in a division. Why would you not want to be the best in that division? The only way to do that is by beating the guy that's thought of as being the best. So that's what you have to lose. That's a lot. And in a lot of fighters' minds and opinions, that's more than money. That's worth more than money. Your name is in the record books. You beat the great dominant Gennady Golovkin, and now you're the man. What does he have to lose? Stephen A. Smith, I'm disgusted.
Yeah, I hate Stephen A. Smith too. You know, and to your point, Beeb, you said that, you know, ignorance is no excuse, and you're right. Ignorance is no excuse. The law always, you know, trumps it. But the thing is, you can't even claim ignorance here. You really can't, because you knew the rule. And you not only you knew that eating meat, eating the beef in Mexico could do this for you. I mean, it could get you a positive test. You can't even claim ignorance. At this point, it's just stupidity or you're cheating. It's that simple. We had talked about Triple G going off. He had talked to ESPN, Triple G did this week, about the Canelo situation. Quote from Golovkin said, again, with the Mexican meat, come on. I told you, it's not Mexican meat. This is Canelo. This is his team. This is his promotion. Canelo is cheating. They're using drugs, and everybody is just trying to pretend it's not happening. This guy, he knows. This guy, it's not his first day in boxing. He proves he gets benefits from everyone, and he can get away with it. Check him on a lie detector test, then we can find out everything. It was pretty not obvious when Alvarez's muscles were all enlarged and with traces of injections, which were visible, Golovkin said. Before the first fight, I knew he was not clean. I can talk about Oscar De La Hoya, too. He is also not clean. He's dirty. Pretty strong stuff. Pretty out of character for Triple G, but I think he's frustrated. I really do. And, what do you do if you're Triple G? I mean, you talk about blowing that fight. Yeah, I mean, you can blow the fight, but I mean, this is a different animal. It's not like you're going and racing the guy. It's not like you're going to do a 100-yard dash against this guy. You guys are going out there and throwing hands against each other. That guy's cheating. That's a big deal. If he's taking performance enhancers, that's a big deal. You can get killed in there. I mean, this is a big difference. So for Stephen A. Smith, I was talking to Chakal last night. Chakal from Tijuana. He said he had some real good points. He said, why isn't Golovkin's team pressing for a hair follicle test? And I said, I don't know. I said, maybe, I thought about it. Maybe they don't know what it is, but by now they know what it is. Cause I didn't know, I knew there was a hair follicle test. I didn't know what it was, but I never would have thought of it. But now everybody knows what that is. Yeah. Why doesn't he take it?
And they're cheap too. I heard they're very cheap.
Yeah. So number one, I don't think Canelo would go for it. Number two, as Chakal said, he says, he could be scared that the fight would be canceled. That's number one, which very well would be. And number two, he would have to submit a sample as well. Because if Canelo does it, his people would demand that Triple G do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's a good story. That's a good one. Because now he has to submit. Maybe he's not clean. Who knows?
And now you even have Mauricio Suleiman, the chairman of WBC, saying, well, you know what? Golovkin's just frustrated. He's upset.
Yeah.
But I'm frustrated. And a lot of fans are frustrated. You know why? Because it's one thing after another with this Canelo. It's always the judges, the hand wraps, the A-side thing, fighting where he has to, fighting where he wants to fight. He has an insurmountable amount of leverage, and it just keeps adding up and adding up and adding up and adding up. And he's been so hard to negotiate with, and at some point it has to just be too much to deal with. I mean, Triple G is a nice guy, but he's human. He can only deal with so much. It's like, how many advantages does this guy have to have? What's next? What's he going to be able to do now? Come in with a club or something? I mean, the advantages just don't stop with this guy.
You know what this is like? This is almost like one of those old-time professional wrestling matches where the guy goes in against the champion and he says, okay, now we're going to have a special referee, and it's one of his enemies or something like that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they stack like 5 people in the other guy's corner.
Yeah. And not only that, Eric, too, right? When the guy starts losing, people keep throwing chairs in the ring to help him win and stuff, and then people come in from the back. That's like Canelo. It's like Canelo, like when Ric Flair was the champion, he never lost. And every time he lost, he would win the title right back. It's like Canelo. Keep throwing in the chairs. Keep having the outside interference. Keep having your manager pull the other guy's hair or something. It never ends. How much of an advantage? How much does the deck have to be stacked in one fighter's favor?
Is there any way Triple G wins this rematch? I mean, realistically, is there any way he can win?
I think he's going to knock him out.
No, Eric. There's not, because the deck is stacked against him. They're right back in Las Vegas. Bob Bennett is one of the worst commissioners in boxing. He's gonna appoint what I would call Canelo judges. You know, I mean, Joshua has a legitimate home canvas advantage, but Canelo has a fake home canvas advantage. Everything is in his favor. I really feel bad for Triple G. I mean, I scored the first fight for Canelo because I honestly thought he won, but it was a close fight. But gee, this rematch, everything is being stacked in his favor. That's why I don't think anything's going to come out of this hearing. I mean, if you want to impress me, you want to show me that you're a legitimate commission, you rule him guilty, you cancel the fight, and you allow Triple G to move on and fight somebody else.
Yeah. Igloo 2 in the chat just brought up a really good point. He said, Canelo doesn't bother me as much as the fact that it's the positive test means nothing. And he's right. And he's 100%.
That's because they're attached to Canelo. They mean nothing because they're attached to Canelo. That's why.
Well, you know what? It's always with the WBC, though. Always.
That is true. That is true, Eric.
They do nothing about this.
You're correct.
Nothing. You know?
You're right.
All right.
I mean, look at look at this. Adonis Stevenson. How long has he had the WBC title, and has not ever fought a mandatory that we know of? I mean, what this organization does is absolutely absurd.
All right, let's go to the.
It didn't work, Eric.
It sure didn't, did it? I hate this sound. I hate this whole blog talk thing. Georgie.
Eric, you dropping the ball again.
Blog Talk's dropping the ball.
What's going on, Eric?
This thing, and we pay for this monthly. How about that? This is what we pay for.
Right, I'll have Eddie do a tax write-off for us.
Tax write-off.
Tax write-off for us. Eddie will take care of it.
You still got time. You still got another month to file it.
That's
so
it.
You're good.
That's right. That's right.
April 17th. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Robbie, what's going on here? You got to be a pharmacist now to be a boxing fan? Talk to me, Robbie.
Fuck if I know, Georgie. To be honest, my God, it's ridiculous.
How many substance and partition and hair particles and bullshit we got to fucking dig into these rabbit holes to get a fight going?
Well, I feel bad for Triple G, though, Georgie, because Triple G is trying to do things the right way, and his opponent is not. It's
fuck Triple G, Robbie. What about the fans?
Well, I feel bad for all of us too.
We're waiting the whole fucking year to see this shit happen, and all of a sudden this nigga gonna come and patty poopy that shit because he's positive.
I will tell you, I'm lukewarm on the fight. I was always lukewarm on the fight.
You are, Eric.
Listen, I already came to a point that I have set myself to be a boxing fanatic. And if these people, they hide on whatever the fuck they hide on, let them fight. And then we resolve the situation after the fact. You just announce like it is, okay? The man is you stop, but we're going to let it ride. You want to put your money on it, put your money on it. You don't want to put your money on it, don't put your money on it.
People can't even bet this fight now because they don't know what the judges are going to do. They don't know what's going on with Canelo. It's a disgrace.
I don't know, brother, because we're so close. I mean, when these meetings happening, Eric, when this shit, I mean, when we get the final word, what's the final word about this?
April 10th.
April 10th.
April 10th.
That's the final thing.
Yeah, that's going to be it. April 10th.
Let's talk about more positive things. Who do you got, Joshua or Parker?
Oh man, I mean, like Eric said, I'm not gonna pick no Parker because you know I'm an AJ fanboy, but it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous fight. I think the only thing that I don't see Parker winning by decision there. No way. I don't think that happening because they're not gonna kill that cash cow that got British boxing on the map. I mean, UK boxing on the map like that. So if Parker wins, gonna have to be a knockout, and I don't think he's gonna knock him out. Who knows? But I don't know.
I don't know, man. I mean,
I'm going with AJ.
Hit. Yeah, I am too. He can hit though. He can hit. He's got a shot.
Parker seems a little sloppier than AJ. AJ seems a little more technical founded. You know, he's like more. I never seen him lean back. That's why I like AJ. I was disappointed with the heavyweight division for a while. Like, I used to hate when I see Lennox Lewis leaning back and shit. Like, I see these tall people being so tall. I'm like, I'm six feet tall, but these people, they're so tall that if you lean back like that, that's like a disrespect to the sweet science. Because, I mean, you're supposed to, you know, have your head movement side to side, you know, bob and weave and all these fundamentals. And AJ is really good on that. But, like, Wilder, I don't like him because I see him leaning back all the fucking time. I don't like that. Because, I mean, how the fuck you champion of the world if you got the fundamental fucked up? Because you got physical attributes to allow you to be champion of the world? I guess fucking so. But
even the great Muhammad Ali leaned back. Even Fat Joe leaned back. Remember Fat Joe? Lean back. I mean, come on. What are you talking about? Why are you so against leaning back, baby? Don't you have recliners at your house, Daddy? Come on.
It's fundamentally unsound.
Yes, it is.
Unless you
It's
got like
not always about fundamentals. It's about athleticism.
Oh, another thing that I want to say before I go, guys, is how about these fucking fights. I've seen fights lately, and the way that we count the fights, the way we're supposed to score the rounds, it's messed up. Those 3 fucking rules that they give you, like, man, ring generalship can mean so much for so many people. A lot of people who saw Canelo against the road when he was fighting Triple G, they thought that was on purpose, that he was doing some Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope. That was ring generalship. And I said that Triple G put him there. But I can see how come people see it the other way. That's why I said that we got to score fights with punch landed and quality of punches. And that's it. That who's situated here, who does this and that, defense not that much, but punch landed. That should be the main way we score rounds. Hello?
Yeah, I think that
we're listening to you, George.
You're
making sense here.
It depends. I mean, like I said, man, ring generalship is if you control the round. You know, if you control the fight, if you control the round. And we see a lot of that. And a lot of times that means, you know, the guy's coming forward, but a lot of times that can mean you backing up too and controlling the fight. Look at Pernell Whitaker. He barely took a step forward. Floyd was the same way, you know.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's all in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? It's just
I know, but these people got number, but then again we gotta go with the CompuBox number. And after that fucking horn pack your fight, I cannot believe those CompuBox numbers no more. That shit was outrageous.
I told you not to believe those numbers. I told you.
We gotta find out a way to really count these punches.
Use your eyes.
So we're gonna trust. Who we're gonna trust?
Use your eyes.
Trust your own eyes. Score the fight how you feel it.
People see different things, man. It's weird, man. Boxing is the thing about boxing that people get so infatuated with being a fan of certain boxers.
Right.
That cloud their mind and they see the guy winning regardless.
That's
right.
True.
I agree.
I think judges do the same thing.
And that's not happening in any other sport. What other sport you see that shit?
Well, it happens in basketball. Certain guys get certain calls. I mean, there's going to be favoritism all the time. It's just the way it is. But more so in boxing, I do agree with that.
Well, it is what it is.
I'm not going to justify it.
I like to say I'm picking AJ. Hopefully he wins. Nothing gets spoiled. See what we get at the end of the year. Probably we're going to get baby Miller they're talking about. Or Povetkin. I would like to see Povetkin, though.
I don't hate either one of those fights.
Like
yeah, I don't hate either one of those fights. I don't want to see Povetkin. I mean, I'd like to see the fight, don't get me wrong, but I don't think Povetkin deserves a shot because he's a roid head. He's a cheater, and he shouldn't even be fighting now anyway. So, but if they give it to him, so be it. I think it'll be an entertaining fight, and I think, but I think Big Baby Miller, I'm not hating that fight either. I would like to see a better fight, but you know, kind of is what it is.
He's not ready yet. Big Baby's
No.
like five or six fights away for that title shot.
Yeah.
He got him after he shaved for like another five fights at least.
Yeah, he's not
ready
ready for Joshua. Yeah, he's not ready for Joshua.
But hey, that's a good paycheck, I tell you that much. Well, like always, telling everybody out there to support, give the thumb up. These people don't ask for much, and that's my call, guys. See you next week.
All right, thank you so much, Georgie, and hopefully we can get that intro fixed for next week. 312, you're live.
Yo, Fight Doctor in the house on Rick James status as always.
Fight Doctor.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Fight Doctor.
How you doing, brother?
The legend.
So
the Fight Doctor calls in. What's on your mind, buddy?
So yeah, you know, I mean, my question is this: what kind of show is the Nevada State Athletic Commission putting on? I mean, really? So you're going to suspend the man temporarily? I mean, okay, like the fight isn't going to happen. I mean, what is the point? So I really would like to know, what is the point of this suspension? You're suspending him for what? Okay, to do what? to ask what questions? The man's B sample has come back dirty, so the man is dropped dirty. So what are you supposed to do here? I mean, there's supposed to be some type of sanction. The fight is supposed to be canceled. You know, I mean, you suspend him temporarily for what? I don't get it. What's the point of this? You know, it's a joke. And Beeb, you made an excellent point about Golovkin's team not pressing for the hair sample, because then, yeah, they would need to submit a hair sample. And look, truth be told, Russian school program, boxing program, and yeah, we all know what's going on there. So you made an excellent point.
I think Eric made that point. I don't want to take credit for Eric's point.
Probably because they're dirty too.
Right. That's possible. Very possible.
Yeah. And I think that's the reason why they're not asking for hair samples. Because if they have to provide a hair sample, well, then I think there's going to be some news there. And maybe it's better. Let's be honest here. Alvarez, in testing dirty, has handed Golovkin an early Christmas gift, okay? Because Alvarez is going to lose-lose. If he loses, he loses. If he wins, he loses, because he dropped dirty. However, if Golovkin loses, well, he's got ready-made excuse, okay? I mean, I think we can pretty much guarantee, regardless of who wins this fight, there will be a third fight. And Robbie, you made an excellent point. The deck is stacked in Alvarez's favor. I don't see the need to, you know, shed tears for Golovkin, because up until this point, the deck has been stacked in his favor in every fight he's been in. So now that the table has been turned, the roles have been switched, you know, he isn't the one who's enjoying all the privileges, advantages. I don't see reason or cause to, you know, shed a tear and feel sorry for him.
Okay, I'll go along with that. I'll go along with that.
Yeah. And plus, on top of that, look, if you go along with the idea, and I do, that Alvarez has the deck stacked in his favor, and he does, they just gave Team Golovkin the biggest win, okay, in dropping dirty. Because now they almost have, I want to say they have basically mandated a third fight. You know, if Golovkin loses, I think he has mandated Team Alvarez in dropping dirty. They have mandated a third fight. It has to happen because they got ready-made excuse. Yeah, well, he was dirty. Of course we lost. He was dirty. Okay? So there has to be a third fight in order to figure out who's the better guy here.
But if there is a third fight, Doctor, you have to get it out of Nevada. You can't keep allowing this guy to fight in Vegas.
Robbie, please stop. Okay? Look, I agree with you in principle. Okay? But now I just have one question, sir. Show me the money. Show me the money. Right. Where are they going to go and make Vegas money? Huh? Where are they going to go? At the end of the day, sir, yeah, I don't think so. I'm sorry, but no.
Too much taxes.
If they could go to New York and make more money, the fight will be in New York. Okay? It would be. And yeah, it would be in New York. But at the end of the day, they're going to make more money staging the fight in Vegas, which is the reason why it's there. Okay? Absolutely. You know, at the end of the day, boxing is a business, and the politics and business of boxing, you know, oftentimes overrule what goes on in the ring, unfortunately.
I understand that, Fight Doctor, but with Bob Bennett in charge, you can't trust anything that the Nevada State Athletic Commission is going to do here. This whole hearing thing, let's face it, it's a publicity stunt. The fighter doesn't even have to be there. What's the point if he doesn't have to show up?
Well, it's a joke. And look, you're preaching to the choir, okay? It's a joke. I'm agreeing with you there. Okay, right. But let me ask this question. Was it any different under the previous commissioner? And I forget his name. What was his name? The previous commissioner of Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Wasn't it Keith Kaiser? And I think he was even worse.
I think it was. Was it Keith Kaiser?
I mean,
it sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't any different under the previous commissioner. You know, listen, we understand who runs Vegas, and it's not who runs the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and it is not the commissioner. Okay, no. It's not the governor. It's the casinos.
Yep.
Okay, they set the policy. So, you know, if they deem that the fight is going to happen, look, Alvarez could pop dirty in his next test, but the fight is still going to happen, regardless. Okay, so, you know, listen, I feel you're coming from, and I totally, completely get it. Okay, but, you know, look, it's more of a business now. So, look, we're just going to have to accept certain things and, you know, move on with life. The sport is dirty, gentlemen. It's been that way.
Well, it's always been dirty, unfortunately.
Right. But, you know, listen, I often say that being a fan of the sport of boxing is akin to falling in love with a $2 whore. And right now, that's exactly how I feel. Okay? That's exactly how I feel. Okay? $2 whore just tricking off, and I'm just so in love, but she just keeps tricking off for $2. Okay? And there's nothing I can do.
I like that. I've never heard that before, but that makes sense. Let's move on to something better. Who do you got this weekend, Joshua or Parker?
This is, I mean, come on. This is a joke. Listen, okay? Look, Anthony Joshua fans, you guys need to ask some serious questions of your hero about his manhood, okay? You know? Yeah, Joseph Parker, yeah, that's going to be knockout in probably about 5 or 6 rounds, okay? In a fight that I don't expect to be competitive, all right? I mean, listen, Joseph Parker is a guy who stands right there, squares up, and is there to be hit, which is what's going to happen. Anthony Joshua is going to hit this guy, and he is going to lay down and probably get counted out in about 5 or 6 rounds. Maybe, possibly, okay, 5 or 6 rounds. More than likely earlier than that, okay? The fight is not going to be competitive. But this fight, this is not a fight. This is a dog and pony show. This is an exhibition. This is a joke. Let's call it what it is, okay? This is a fucking joke, all right? Anthony Joshua crowd, you guys really need to start asking some serious questions of your hero's manhood and why Deontay Wilder can't come in the ring and face him like a man. And look, yeah, I'm $2 whore, okay? Honestly, this is just fucking crazy, okay? Yeah, but why are we even talking about Joseph Parker? Who? I don't get it. Yeah, knockout in the 5th, 6th round. Okay, in a fight that's not competitive.
Wow.
You know, that's my official position. Okay.
Okay.
You're on record.
Yeah.
You're on record.
Yep. In a joke of a fight.
Yeah. All right, fight doctor.
Fight is a joke. Eddie Hearn is a joke. Anthony Joshua is a joke.
Oh. All right, fight doctor. We're gonna get rolling here, man. Thank you as always for the call. That might have been the call of the night right there, man. $2 whore.
Well, no, he always brings good things to the table. I enjoy his calls.
I love him, man. He's always got good things to say. Always, like I said, man, he's the guy that calls in, and while you may not agree with everything he says, he's always got points to back it up. You know what I mean? He's always got points to back up his argument. He doesn't just call and spew off nonsense. Like, of course, our next caller.
Polar opposite.
Yeah, here we go.
He's a fucking mental case is what he is.
Oh, Robert, come on. That's no way
and starting all the
to
hate
introduce
already.
him. Casual Jason, go ahead.
What's going on, you fucking pussies?
Now, Eric, what's up with that? Jason's intro works just fine, but you couldn't get Georgie's to work. What's up with that?
It is what it is, man. It's
calls are way
talk.
better.
It's
That's
blog
why.
talk. It's
Beeb,
calls are way better.
have you been watching Radio Raheem's interviews from this weekend from the England with Eddie Hearn and them? Have you been watching them?
Yes.
Have you?
I think it's great. Radio Raheem went to England, man.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
He always goes there. Did you watch him? Did you watch him ask Eddie and Johnny Nelson, why doesn't AJ fight Ortiz next? And Nelson was like, oh, no. He should avoid him for sure. He's too dangerous. And then Radio Raheem asked Eddie Hearn, since you want Wilder to fight White, how let's see if AJ fight Ortiz. He was like, maybe. But he's like, maybe we'll fight White. Maybe we'll fight Miller. Maybe we'll fight Ortiz. But he started stuttering when fucking Radio Raheem brought up Ortiz. AJ has no fucking intention to fight Ortiz or Wilder next. It seems like
he's not fighting either one of those guys next. And I mean, with Ortiz, Ortiz is coming off a loss. I get that, but I'll tell you what. Wilder was a viable option for him, but he's not fighting him next. That's the thing. That's what I keep telling everybody. That fight is not happening next. Don't get excited about it.
Where's Beeb at? He's been very silent. I thought he was going to expose AJ once he realized he was going to duck Wilder. I don't know why Beeb is so silent. What's going on?
Eric, can you enlighten him what I said earlier in the show, please? Because he's probably missed it.
You enlighten me, Beeb. You enlighten me.
What did I say? What did I say about the AJ situation earlier in the show? What did I ask? What did I ask you guys?
Is he a diva? Asked if he was a diva. And we all agree. I mean,
Diva's understatement. Diva's understatement. He's a fucking protected baby. That's what he is, with his fucking diaper bag carrier Eddie walking around everywhere protecting him and shit.
Wasn't that the synonym of the word diva?
Words are hard.
That's right.
Hey, Beeb, words are hard. I mean,
choose your words. Come on.
He's from Atlanta, so we got to give him a little bit of a break.
That's all you called him, Diva. That's it, Beeb. No long rant and stuff. Like no. Why isn't he fighting?
Jason Diva is a perfect description.
I already said. All those things you're saying right now. I already said it. I don't understand why for some reason everything needs to be translated to you. I mean, you speak English. I don't know why I have to translate things to you.
I came into the show late. I didn't hear you. I guess my bad. Jeez.
Then I don't understand it. What's this close? Is this closed caption for the hearing impaired? I don't know what to do. I'm gonna buy you a speak and spell. I don't know what's next.
He's from Atlanta. They don't.
So now you're
flashcards. Let me give you flashcards.
Industries are getting exposed. You're gonna go rant on me instead of AJ. Nice way to deflect. Just like White the distraction. Now here comes Beeb with the distraction.
We already ranted on AJ.
We already did this. You always come to the show late.
Distraction.
You miss half.
Let's stay on the topic.
Every time you miss half the show, we have to start the show over again when you come on. It doesn't make sense. That's not fair to the rest of the people.
I didn't miss half the show, dude. I missed like an hour.
That's half the show. It's 2 hours
We
show.
covered all this stuff.
Oh my God.
I know, man. I know. I'll go back and listen to it. Relax.
What's
Oh,
half
oh
of
my
two?
God.
But what do you guys think about
Just sign you up for a book club or
Hey,
something.
did that Nacho guy call in?
Well, I'm sure he's on hold, but we haven't talked to him yet.
Well, I was wondering, when is he going to call in and call out Gilberto Ramirez for his shitty level of competition? Because that kid has almost 40 fights, and now they're talking about him fighting Rocky Fielding. Because I know guys like Nacho call in and talk shit about Wilder's resume being shitty and Tank's resume not being shitty. But what about Gilberto Ramirez? That guy has 40 fights. When is that fucking guy going to step up?
Why can't they all have bad
Fight a guy
resumes?
with pulse.
Why can't they all have bad resumes?
Huh?
Why do we have to? Why do we have to choose one out of those three?
No,
to have
I'm just
bad
saying,
resumes?
why can't fanboys like Nacho ever call in and ask the fans and you guys, why doesn't Gilberto Ramirez ever step up? When is he
That's
gonna
ironic. One fanboy calling someone else a fanboy.
Well,
That's what I think
wait a minute. Jojo Diaz is the #1 mandatory for Gary Russell, who never wants to fight.
Oh.
Well, he's ready for JoJo, but where's JoJo at? I mean, there's a
Russell's
fucking
friend of the
MIA
show.
on him. Where the hell is he at?
Robert, Gary Russell's friend of the show. Come on. What's the matter with you?
What? Did Gary Russell call into the show? How was he a friend of the show?
Dad. His
Well,
dad.
we've interviewed him before, Jason.
Yeah,
Okay.
his father.
My bad.
The
I guess
family.
I wasn't a subscriber back then, maybe.
No, you were not.
Yeah, thank God.
What do you guys think about the Charlo and Tank beef? Any thoughts on that? Did you guys already talk about that?
No, who cares about that? Who cares? Charlo's mad at the world. I mean, seriously, who cares about that? Charlo's mad at everybody. That's how he stays hungry, man. He's mad at everybody. He's mad at Adrian Bronner. He's mad at Tank. You know, he said he doesn't want to be on Bronner's card because okay, great. Just go out there and do your fighting, man. It's all good. It's not like he's going to fight either one of those two.
What is it?
And at least with Charlo being angry, you can guarantee he'll have a top-notch performance when he goes out there.
I think Centeno is no fucking pushover. I think he's going to give Charlo a fight. He's got the size and the length and everything. He's no chump, man.
He's getting
I think he knocked him out.
He's getting murked, son.
Think so?
First 6 rounds, yep.
That this Vegas card is fucking stacked from top to bottom, and the other Vegas card, or this Brooklyn card is stacked, and the Vegas card with DeGale and Hurd and Lara, and that fucking somebody's fighting J-Rock. I heard some hard hitting kid. I don't know his name, Lattimore or somebody.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I think that. I mean, it's. We'll see. We'll see where J-Rock is, man. I mean, if he beats this guy, he's moving up again. But yeah, could be a tough fight for him. I don't know. I don't think it will be, but who knows? But yeah, those are good cards.
What do you guys think if Tank and Valdez were to fight? Who would you pick? Beeb and Eric and Robbie. What would you guys pick?
Tank and Valdez, man. I don't know. It's a good fight.
I have no idea.
That's a good fight.
It'd be a good fight, though.
I'm going to pick Valdez in that one.
I don't think Tank would.
I'm going to go on a limb and pick Valdez in that one. I'll break Jason's heart. I'm picking Valdez.
What? Come on, dude.
I like Valdez.
That guy gets dropped like every fucking fight. Come on.
I like Valdez.
I know you like him. I know a lot of people like him, so I guess they excuse his flaws, but I feel like Tank is too accurate, too fast for that kid.
I don't like where Tank's head's at right now. I don't think he's focused on the sport right now. I'm a little worried about Tank. I think
on Instagram. He looks lean and shit. He's been eating like a professional fighter, posting his food and shit, like salmon and rice every day. But he is kind of, I don't know why he's training with fucking Cunningham. That trainer looks retarded. He should be training with some real professional trainers in Vegas or LA somewhere. I don't know why he's in Miami with Broner. That makes no sense.
You don't like Kevin Cunningham?
Not really. I mean, he's like a fucking loudmouth. I don't know. And that guy's fucking always chewing tobacco and hanging out in the club with fighters and shit. I don't like coaches like that. He's like a fucking entourage hanger on to me.
Well, Kevin Cunningham he's been a good trainer. He's been a good trainer for Devin Alexander and
yeah, but he was hanging out with Broner in the club. When I saw that, I was like, what kind of fucking coach hangs out with in the club with the fucking fighters? I'm like, that's the recipe for disaster right there.
Yeah, I don't like that. I can't co-sign on that. I can't co-sign on that.
All right, so let's talk about the real issue.
I would like Tank to go to LA and fight with like train with Mikey Garcia and guys like that. Learn some fucking shit. Go fucking spar Abner Mares and guys like that.
He ain't leaving Baltimore, son. Floyd can't get him out of there. Ain't nobody getting him out of there. Let's talk about the real issue here.
He's in Miami now.
Jason's been texting me.
He's in Miami now.
Jason's been texting me the weekend, and Beeb,
Yeah, talk about that.
He says that Julio Cesar Chavez never fought anybody.
I never said that. I said, where was these fucking critics when he was fighting bums in his first 50, 60, 70 fights?
Never
fighting
fought
like 20 guys with their professional debuts. Everybody's talking shit about Wilder and King. They don't step up. But the biggest fucking Mexican legend was fighting guys on their debuts in their first fucking 15, 20, 30 fights. I mean, come on. That's what I was comparing it to.
All right, hold on. Beeb, give me some of the names on Chavez's resume.
Hector Camacho.
What number fight that was too? 60, 70, 80, or what?
We're going to mute you. We're going to mute you for a second.
Camacho.
Cannot learn anything by talking.
Mario Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez.
Ramirez, the lightweight champion.
Rosario. Edwin Rosario.
Edwin Rosario.
Edwin Rosario was considered the top pound-for-pound fighter.
Roger Mayweather.
Roger Mayweather.
Oscar De La Hoya. Costa Zoo.
Costa Zoo. Other than that, he hasn't fought anybody.
Yeah.
All right,
Who's missing on that list? Godzilla and King Kong? I don't know what else to say.
Tell me the number of those fights, Beeb. What number of fights were those? Like 60, 70, 80, 90, 100? When were these great matchups? Can you tell me that?
What am I, his biographer?
Huh?
What am I, his biographer? I don't know.
You can't fucking tell me the number of the fight. When did he start fighting these great guys? Beeb, can you tell me? Because I really don't know.
Martinez was in the first 40 fights.
Yeah, he won 130 pounds. He won 130 pound title.
I mean, Robbie, have you seen the first 80 guys he fought? Did you look at the records and shit?
Yeah, Meldrick Taylor.
Yeah.
Martinez was part of the 80.
Jason, what Chavez?
Yeah, I'm asking you, after how many fights did he fight Meldrick Taylor and stuff? Like, how many fights? Because I don't think he fought him in the first 40, 50 fights, right? Am I wrong?
Fights.
Huh?
80-some fights. It was like he was like 80 fights in.
Okay, so Wilder has 40 more fights to go so he can fight 40 more bums like Chavez, right? And you'll be cool with it?
I think he was like 60-some fights in.
I'm surprised at you, Jason. You're always Googling stuff. Why don't you Google Chavez's box rank?
Who can fight 20 more bums?
That's my only point. I just don't get why Wilder gets all this shit and fucking
because he doesn't fight
you guys
anybody.
Fucking gargle on Chavez Sr.'s nuts like that. I don't get it.
Chavez Sr. always fought tough fights, but then he would have interim fights in between. He'd have non-title bouts.
He'd have non-title bouts, and he fought in Mexico. And he fought in Mexico because he
not the first 50 fights of his career. He wasn't having tough fights in the first 40.
All right, we're gonna mute you again. He had tough fights in Mexico, or he had interim fights in Mexico. They were never like title fights. He had interim fights in Mexico because he knew the Mexican people couldn't pay to go to Vegas and watch him or watch him fight in the U.S. That's why he went back there to give back for all the support they gave him. And he also did it to stay sharp. But he never fought anybody for titles.
Eric,
yeah.
And Eric, didn't he fight Greg Haugen in that big stadium where they got 130,000 people in Mexico?
Right. And he says we gargle on Chavez Sr.'s nuts. Al Heyman, anyone? Al Heyman?
Yeah, really.
He won his first world title in 1984, Jason. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, Beeb, Igloo just said he fought Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, and Hector Camacho after his 80 fucking fights. So that's what I'm trying to point. You guys are like totally making some other point. I'm trying to say, why the fuck was he fighting so many bums first 50, 60 fights?
What about Juan Laporte? What about Juan Laporte, Rocky Lockridge?
Jason, yeah, Eric right? Just explained
Edwin Rosario.
No, really, he just made
Roger Mayweather.
What the fuck does that mean? So Wilder can go fight fucking Alabama bums and shit. You guys will just excuse it. He was fighting in Alabama for the fans. That's what he was telling me. He was fighting in Mexico for the fans.
We have a better income than people in Mexico do. He was doing
maybe not in Atlanta
he
though.
Fought fights. He fought fights in Mexico.
No, he was fooling the public because the public is so fucking dumb over there. They can fool him fighting debuters. He was fighting guys in their professional debuts. 15 fucking guys in the first 30 fights. Come on, that's ridiculous.
These calls are absolutely horrible.
Robbie, what do you think about him fighting? Robbie, what do you think about him fighting a guy in his professional debut in his 39th fight? Have you ever heard of that shit in your life? Can you tell me?
Oh my God.
Have you ever heard a fighter fight a debuter in his 39th fight? Can you tell me that, Robbie, please?
No, I've
Jason,
never heard of that, but I'm sure it's happened.
That's Chavez for you. That's Chavez for you, buddy. That's Chavez for you. So just let's keep it real. Don't like ooh and ah like a fucking woman when I'm just really telling you the facts. I'm just giving you facts.
Hey, Jason.
Why are you so defensive about it? It's not your record.
Jason, do you Simonize Al Heyman's car after you're done washing it? Do you like wax it down and stuff?
Jesus Christ.
What?
Do you wax Al
I'm talking
Heyman's
about
car?
Chavez fighting a fucking professional
asking.
debut or in his 40th fight. What does that have to do with Al Heyman?
I just want to know if he waxed his car when you're done washing it.
You're so obsessed with Al Heyman, it makes me think he's banging your wife or something. I mean, geez, relax, dude. God damn.
You're the one doing his laundry, son.
How many sugars does he take in his coffee?
I don't know. You need to switch your decaf, though, son.
I wish I worked for Al Heyman. I'd be getting more money than I am now. I'd be getting way more money than I am now. Shit. PBC pays good.
He doesn't pay you for all your chores? That's crazy, man.
What about all that free PR?
Corey in the chat.
All right, make sure you ask that. Make sure you ask the Mexican Homer Nacho. When is Gilberto Ramirez going to step up his competition for real? And thanks to Igloo for the $5 donation. Chavez fighting a debut fighter in his 40th fight. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Fucking. You guys,
thank you, Igloo.
You guys are like making these fucking sound effects and shit.
I don't know the point of this whole phone call. It has.
What's the point of this phone call? What do you think about Wilder fighting a debut in his next fight? What would you say then? What would you say? You'd be fucking bashing him all day, like you always do anyway.
Here's the difference. All those fights that he fought in Mexico, they weren't televised. They weren't for title.
Wow. Oh my God. Wow.
They weren't showcased.
Wow. Oh my God.
All right, Jason, we're gonna get running, man.
It's not like Golden Boy putting those squash matches on ESPN.
Expose Eddie and AJ. Come on, man. Let's go.
We already did. We already exposed it.
This. Rewind. Hit the rewind button.
Jesus Christ! You know, I hate to say this, but I'm beginning to hate these damn phone calls. I mean, that call did not make a damn bit of sense. Why is he bringing up Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. when we haven't even discussed him during this show?
In all fairness, to Jason, I brought that up because we were chatting about it this weekend, so that's why I brought it up. Jason had to go anyway. He had to go towel off Deontay Wilder, so don't worry about it. It's all good. He just got out of the shower. He's got to towel off Wilder. So, all right. Robbie Kim. Ohio Runs Boxing is in the chat, and he just had a donate. He just gave us a donation, and we thank him very much.
Igloo gave us a donation too. Thank you, Igloo.
Yeah, thank you so much, Igloo too. And Ohio Runs Boxing, you can follow him on Facebook. He's got a lot of good memes and stuff like that. He's always in the boxing boards on Facebook, and it looked like in the chat. I don't know. I mean, I'll talk to him. Maybe he's trying to get a podcast going or something like that. So when you do, man, just a shout out to you. When you do, come on here and let us know about it, and we'll send it out, man. Make sure everybody gets a listen.
That's right.
So there you go.
That's right.
We'll tweet it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll tweet it. Let's see here. Corey, I think, is on hold. 804. 804.
He got on early tonight.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
First class treatment for you tonight, brother.
Speaking of boxing channels, Corey, tell us about yours.
All right, man. Today, you know, I've just inserted some new stuff to my channel, so I've been going live lately. Me and a couple friends of mine, we've been going live. So we did the whole Lucas Browne fight live, and then we did some of the ESPN card live. So my Lucas Browne live went over 500 views. We're at about 600 views now. I mean, the channel's growing so fucking fast, dude. It's just unbelievable the support I've got, and you know, all of the love that I've got, man, from the show. I mean, very little to none trolls. You know what I mean? The trolls haven't been a problem. I've seen on other channels trolls are a problem, but at my channel it's not as bad as other channels so far. But yeah, man, you can check me out at Corey Lee's Boxing on YouTube. I just started my Instagram, so I'll be posting up some new stuff on Instagram. So yeah, man. So yeah, I want to get into the fights this weekend, man. So yeah, Lucas Browne versus Dillian Whyte, man. Actually, on my show, to spice it up, I actually picked Lucas Browne to win, so I lost a 20 push-up bet, man. So you can actually see me on my YouTube, and you can see me doing the 20 push-ups, man. I paid up. You know, I'm a good guy. You know what I mean? And I had to pay up, man. I mean, he got flatlined when he actually got knocked out. I said live on air. I said, is Lucas Browne dead? He's not moving. It was a very, very vicious and brutal knockout.
Yeah, it did not look good, man, for him. It did not look good at all.
Yeah, maybe knockout candidate of the year. You know, it was a very brutal. I am pleased to say that he is doing better now. He is out of the hospital from the pictures that I've seen. So that is good. You know, I'm happy for him. That was a very, very vicious, brutal knockout. Not only the knockout was brutal, it was what happened after the knockout. He was lifeless. And I'm just glad to see him, you know, doing good. It was almost like the Pacquiao knockout, you know, when Marquez knocked out Pacquiao and he did not move for a little while. You know, the oxygen tank was there, and you know, I'm just happy to, you know, that he's great now. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, we went live on the air. We covered the whole fight. We covered some of the pre-fights. There was a guy on the pre-fights, man, that actually caught my eye, man. He's a big welterweight to be in the welterweight division. And I mean, I think he's actually going to be a pretty good fighter, man. I think he's a little bit above the British level, man. I think he could possibly be on world level. He kind of reminds me of like a Richard Comey type of fighter. He had a Congo on his trunk, and he was on the we pretty much did the whole card on my channel of the Lucas Browne card. And you know, and the Dillian Whyte card. And there was a guy that he really caught my eye. I think his last name was Congo. He was a really good fighter, man. You know, he went all 6 rounds, but he boxed his ears off. And it was pretty much a shutout, man. And the other guy,
Chris Congo,
had a mohawk and he was undefeated.
Chris Congo is who you're referring to.
Chris Congo. Congo is a prospect that we need to watch out for, man.
Yeah.
I'm letting y'all guys know firsthand. That's a talent that I do see him going to the next level, man. I think he is promoted by Eddie Hearn. Yeah, he would definitely go to the next level. He's not an O'Hara Davis. He's not one of those type of guys. I think he could be possibly on world level. He kept his jab. He hit him with the 1-2, kept him at bay all night. The guy he was fighting was a little bit short and stocky. And that was another thing on my show, man. I did you know, punch by punch. You know what I mean? I was pretty much the for the guys that didn't have HBO, I was pretty much the commentator on my show, which kind of was, you know, I give it up to the commentators, man. They got a kind of a tough job, man.
It's not easy, is it?
And left hook, right hook, you know, jab, you know. I mean, you know, it's kind of fun, man. Like I said, we were live on air for about 3 hours, dude. It was a ball, man.
Very cool.
And
hey, what did you think of?
Man, something new, man. And
hey, what did you think of Lewis Ritson in the Scotty Cardwell fight?
Oh man, I think was that the fight after the Congo fight?
No, that was the fight right before the Buglioni Johnson fight, I believe.
Okay, yeah, that was a
he knocked him out in 2
man.
rounds.
That was a pretty good fight, man. Huh?
He knocked him out in 2 rounds.
Oh yeah, but see what it was is too. I had it planned, but I had it planned in the background, so I kind of had to be real cautious because I didn't want to get flagged or anything. So
right,
I would like stop it. You know what I mean? So I was real cautious on that. But I did see the replay. It was a real brutal knockout, man. I mean, I hope the guys are all right, man. And you know, pretty much from what I was watching. They had a pretty good card, man. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be a shitty card. To be honest with you, man, they put on a pretty good card, man. It was a lot of British level fighters, man. But in actuality, man, I was really surprised, man, at the response in the crowd. And you know what I mean? For a Dillian Whyte level fighter, and for him to be the main event, that was a damn good card. It was a successful card, I think, man.
Well, hey, Sky Sports puts on good cards, man. They always do.
Yeah, Beeb, did you think it was a successful card, Beeb?
Yes, it was, man. It was a really good card.
Last fight was very entertaining. I thought the Whyte, and a lot of people were dumping on the Whyte Browne fight, but I thought it was an entertaining fight. I thought I was entertained. I mean, you know, you were kind of on your seat, on the edge of your seat, whether Browne could land that shot or not. And yeah, I thought it was pretty entertaining.
And that Buglioni fight was an upset too, because he was supposed to win.
Yeah.
And that was another thing I wanted to get to. That was another thing I wanted to get to too, man. You know, Lucas Browne was very, 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 very out of this fight, man.
Yeah.
He looked grossly overweight, man. I mean, I've seen some of his last fights when he fought a guy named Chikev, and he got knocked down in that fight to come back and win that fight. He was way, way double more in shape than what he was for this fight, man. And you would think for the fight of his life, for the WBC title on the line, a chance to fight the Bronze Bomber, that you would come in on your A level, man. That guy Lucas Browne really upset me, man. Not only did I bet on him and I backed him, but you know, I had to do push-ups for the guy. And then on top of that, man, he came in grossly overweight. You know, I pretty much did it for the show. I pretty much knew that Dillian Whyte was going to probably get the best of him. I thought it was going to go 12 rounds, but from the first round, I knew it wasn't going to end good, man, because he was picking them apart. Luke, if y'all noticed, Lucas Browne got cut really, really easy. He started, his face started swelling up in about the first or second round, and then a cut occurred. And then as soon as that cut occurred, everything else started happening. I think from what I read, he had about 3 cuts on his face. I mean, it was a bloody mess by the end of the fight. If y'all didn't watch it, for the viewers out there.
Yeah, it was bad.
And so, yeah, man. And then that's another thing. Where does Dillian Whyte go from here, man? My personal opinion, I think Dillian Whyte goes from here. I think in actuality, you know, you got the Bronze Bomber, you got Deontay Wilder wanting and willing to fight Anthony Joshua. But like I said on my channel, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. You got a guy like Anthony Joshua fighting Joseph Parker. He's got to give Joseph Parker, you know what I mean, a little bit more than the mandatory minimum, which is about 25%. He's got to give him a little bit more than that. I'm almost willing to bet that Deontay Wilder is going to want more than Joseph Parker is getting right now. Joseph Parker, from what I'm reading, is getting about 30 to 35% of the purse. I'm not sure what his cut is on the pay-per-view, but you know, what goes on outside of the ring is a huge part to making the fight. You know, a lot of fans don't see that part. Us as boxing fans, but us, on another note, us as hardcores know the business side can get brutal. You know, when you go in that business room, it can get brutal. Feelings can get hurt, and the fight won't happen. You know what I mean? And that's what I think is going on right now for Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker. I think a lot of egos are involved, and I think, you know, for them to put their egos aside, that's the only way the fight's going to happen. With Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, the egos will have to put aside, and Floyd Mayweather just went up to Manny Pacquiao and said, "Look, man, I want to make the fight, man." You know, he met him at the basketball game and said, "Look, I want to make the fight. You know, we can scratch Bob Arum. We can talk one-on-one first, scratch Al Heyman, and we can talk as men, and we can get this fight happening, man. Give the people what they want, man." But I think Joshua and Wilder are 2 different wavelengths than Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather at this point in their career, man. And I think right now, man, you know what I mean, it's a business first, and then it's boxing second. You know what I mean? So my personal opinion is what I think is going to go down is I honestly think that that Joshua is going to beat Parker, which I think Parker, nobody's giving Parker a fighting chance. I think he's a fighting chance. I've seen some pictures that surface. You're going to be in for a rude awakening when y'all seen how Joseph Parker's body looks, man. He's going to be ripped, dude. I've seen some of his pictures, man. His last couple fights, he's been looking flabby. Not as flabby as Lucas Browne, but he's been looking flabby from what I've seen, an ideal prime Parker to look like. You know what I mean? They said they were trying to buff him up for his last couple fights. But I honestly think that this fight coming up, man, he's cut to the T. I think he's crossed all his I's and dotted his T's. And, I mean, I honestly think he's going to be ready for this fight, man. He had elbow surgery, which I did a video on my channel about. He he had elbow surgery that's been hindering him for the last 2 years, and he just got that worked on, and so now I think he's going to be 110% ready. That being said, I think it'll be a controversial decision. Joshua has zero head movement, so that can hinder him. That's a huge minus fighting Parker, because I think Parker has a lot more movement than Anthony Joshua does, and that's why I'm picking Joshua. But you know, I'm really going back on what I'm saying, because I'm thinking Parker has a really good chance of winning, man. I think a lot of people don't understand that, and I think, you know, I think this is gonna be the best fight that Anthony Joshua has ever been in so far in his career. And so yeah, man, that's pretty much my call, man. You can check me out on Corey Lee's Boxing on YouTube. Like I said, I just opened up my Instagram account, man. It's the official Corey Lee's Boxing on Instagram. And shout out to Beeb, man. I'm still waiting on my music video, man, but I'm just working every day, man. So I'm available whenever you are, man.
All right.
Boxing, signing out.
All right.
See if we can do it Friday or Saturday.
Thank you, Corey. Good call, man. Good call. Corey Lee Boxing on YouTube. You know, he brought up a good point. He said, what about, he says, you know, he was talking about it, and he said that, you know, Parker's getting about 30, 35%. And I even read as high as maybe 37% or under. I don't think he got to that 40% mark. But if that's the case, what does Deontay Wilder deserve? Certainly higher.
I think it's 40 to 45%, Eric.
Yeah, I think so too. But I don't think he gets 50-50 at all.
No.
But Eddie's talking.
I think it's 60-40.
Yeah.
I can't believe Eddie's saying this is a tougher fight than the Wilder fight would be. I can't believe that.
Eddie's selling.
That's crazy.
You got to talk to your boy, son.
Yeah, your boy. Crack.
That's crazy. That is totally crazy.
760, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? It's
Brian. Hey, Brian, what's up?
Brian, what's
happening?
Hey,
what's up with you? What's up with you? Hey, I wasn't sure what you guys covered. I got on the line late, but I was just going to talk about that Lucas Browne and Dillian Whyte fight.
Go right ahead.
That was pretty vicious. So Dillian Whyte, he's in the mix now too, with all the heavyweights. I think it's picking up in the division with the heavyweights, you know, because see, what I think is, you know, he's calling out Wilder. I don't think he should just get an easy shot, just like they saying with Wilder, he ain't gonna get no easy shot fighting against Anthony Joshua. But then you got Dominique Brazil. He want to fight against Wilder too. Maybe they could fight an eliminator, you know, between the both of them. What you guys think?
Well, that's been proposed, but now that White won the fight yesterday, he becomes the mandatory for Wilder. So it depends on what the WBC decides to do. Are they going to force Wilder to fight White, or are they going to allow Wilder to negotiate with Joshua? See, that's the thing with the WBC, with all the Canelo stuff going on. You don't know what the WBC is going to do anymore. It's you know, it's one of those kind of deals.
But I still think, I don't know if, man, it just don't seem like that fight is going to get done. I mean, maybe like 2 years. It don't seem like Anthony Joshua and Wilder is going to happen anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
I
don't.
You
and
know,
it's disappointing for us boxing fans, because that's what we'd like to see. But once again, you're going to see the political get in the way.
Yeah, because you know, I mean, it's like at this point in time, it's like with me, they're both good heavyweights. You know, they're great heavyweights right now for the sport. You know, because they're both entertaining. You know, that's why we want to see them fight. But you know, the whole politics of it going to keep us. Maybe Joshua don't want to fight him. I don't understand it. You know, it seemed like if it's not Eddie Hearn, the fighters can make the fight. So, you know, I'm not going to really
Brian,
call it on that.
Brian, since you tuned in late, I'll ask you the question that Beeb put out earlier. Do you think Anthony Joshua is a diva?
Yeah. Definitely, because I mean, it's like, let's be honest, that dude, you know, when he be up there and they mention Wilder, he really don't want to talk about him, because he talk about knocking out Tyson Fury, he talk about beating Joseph Parker, he's, you know, and them other people, he's pretty confident, but when it comes to Wilder talks, he'd be like, anyway, let's talk about something else real quick.
Right.
What did you guys have for lunch? Like, no, we're not talking about lunch. We talk about Wilder, you know, but we can't never get down to that subject. But what I think is, you know, even if the fight don't happen, it's like, you know, it's a few guys. Maybe Wilder can just knock out these guys like Dillian Whyte, Dominique Brazil, some of them other dudes, and hey, maybe he could beat Mayweather record. Forget it. You know, he don't need Joshua. Just break his record. If Joshua, you can't force somebody to fight you that ain't gonna fight you. So you might as well, you know, they both gonna just build up some type of other legacy if they not gonna fight each other. You know, I see that as an option. Just knocking out all these other heavyweights, beating Mayweather record. What you guys think?
He's got to do something.
Well, as far as I'm concerned,
you know, because
as far as I'm concerned, the real record is Julio Cesar Chavez winning 89 in a row.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right about that. You're right. But they forget about that though. I don't know why, but I don't know. You know, I really don't see why they're not gonna fight, man. I just don't understand it, man.
They've said all along, and Joshua's people have said all along that they're not looking to fight him right away. And even Joshua's himself has come out and said that, hey, you know, it sounds like what they want to do is wait till he gets a little bit older, wait till Wilder, wait a couple more, wait a year or two until he gets older, kind of like what Canelo did to Triple G, where he waits a little bit and waits a little bit until he gets a quart low, and then they say, okay, let's try our luck here.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think, but that's what they're going to do. I
mean,
everybody talking about
that
the fight being
I
next.
get tired of that. But,
yeah, the fight's not going to be.
You know,
next.
That's why I say maybe, you know, because both of them is it don't matter who, pretty much at this point, who Anthony Joshua fight. It's going to be fans to watch him fight, and then to be honest with you, Wilder too. Even though he's not as big as Anthony Joshua, he has fans too. So. You know, because I know he's been breaking his neck trying to get that fight. It don't seem like Wilder's going to get it, though. It just does not seem like he's going to get that fight.
As long as he keeps winning, he'll get it eventually.
What was that? I'm sorry.
I said as long as he keeps winning, he'll get it eventually. Because the fight will happen. Yeah. It's too big, too much money not to happen. You know, it's just a question of, you know, hey, we've got to get there.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, you know, another fighter I was going to ask you guys about, because this is my friend, Ryan Garcia. You guys watch him fight on Thursday?
Yeah, that was that first round knockout.
Yeah, we used to train together when he was a lot younger. But what you guys think about him in that division? He making some noise, huh?
Yeah, I
think he's got a bright future.
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't like the card
so
much, but I
when
liked
he
him.
was a kid.
Yeah, he's a good prospect. He really is.
He's calling out some big names, though. What you think? He's not ready for that yet, huh?
No, he's got work to do. And he's only, 19, 20 years old. So, you know, let's not rush
he's
things.
super young.
Yeah.
He's super young. But that was a pretty good. Did you guys seen the fight on Thursday?
Yes, I did.
It's pretty good knockout. He's fast, huh? He's fast.
Yes.
His pops, he used to have him jumping on the trampoline, hitting the mitts at the same time. He would do a lot of speed drills when he was young. You know, that's why it's good seeing him prosper, you know, but you know, you still gotta slow your roll though, you know.
And
you don't want to get hurt.
I don't know if you paid attention to the crowd, but it was more women than men in that crowd.
Yeah, I seen that. I said, man.
They were all there for him, man. They all went nuts when he came out.
I laughed about that. I said, wow, he got all the ladies over there.
Yeah.
It's cool watching him prosper though, but you know, I want to see him get a big fight, you know, just not now, you know, but I'm definitely supporting him. you know, to get a big fight. But yeah, that's pretty much my call. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, you're welcome,
we
and we'll
man.
talk to you next week.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right.
Good deal. Good deal. All right, let's get back to the news here. The UFC is looking to make Anthony Joshua a $500 million offer. According to the Telegraph, the UFC is hoping to convince Anthony Joshua and his team to leave his longtime promoter Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing and join forces with them, presumably under the Zuffa umbrella. And they're reportedly willing to drop $500 million to prove their interest. If this contract gets made, it would make Anthony Joshua the richest British boxer of all time. Beeb, would this be a good move?
It sounds like it would be on the surface, but the thing is how's Eddie Hearn going to be factored into all this? Because he does have a contract with Eddie Hearn.
It's got to be expiring soon, no?
I'm not sure. I'll have to investigate that, but they seem to have a good working relationship, and AJ's voiced his loyalty to Eddie. So I think he said that he would be open to talking with them, and you know, as long as Eddie's on board, then I think he would consider it. I'm not so sure.
Cares if Eddie's on board? You're talking about $500 million.
I know, so I don't know.
My God, if somebody offered me that kind of money, I'd say, where do I sign?
What a sellout you are. What a sellout. You'd sell out for $500 million?
I'd settle for $500,000 at this point, but
I'd sell out for $50.
Yeah,
all right?
really. I think Eddie Hearn would be left in the dust here, Beeb. You know?
The question is, what could the UFC actually, outside of that money, which is kind of the biggest thing that really matters, but outside of that, like, what are the details of him getting that $500 million? Is there how many years and how many fights does that entail? And not only that,
and
they don't have much experience dealing with boxing, and they don't have much experience dealing with the UK boxing. So how would they maximize?
Well, Dana White's career started in boxing. I mean, he was always into boxing.
Yeah, but he's never
a boxing background, you know. But that
never really did promotion though.
Right, and he knows how to promote. You know, no question there. So they've got to have some plan in order to make this kind of offer. They've got to have some plan for it.
It's got to be a long-term deal too.
Yeah, it's got to be something. You know, they're just not going to bring this up and, you know.
And not only that, Eric, if he signs this kind of deal, that means every single one of his fights would have to be a pay-per-view extravaganza.
I don't know.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Right. Yeah, it just depends. Depends on how they do it, man. Saddam Ali versus Liam Smith is set for May 12th in Verona, New York. I love this fight, man. This is a solid fight. I can't wait to watch it.
Great fight.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see it, man. This is going to be a really solid fight. And last but not least, your boy, Floyd Mayweather, applies for an MMA license. Floyd Mayweather has applied for his MMA license and is supposed to start training with UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley next week. Thoughts?
Wow.
Does this happen? Beeb, does this happen? Does he get in there?
They were talking about, I was listening to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan was saying that he doesn't think that he'll ever get in there with a guy like McGregor.
No.
But what about him versus CM Punk or something like that? Would that make sense? I don't know.
I think that makes sense. I think that's a huge fight. I think that automatically becomes a huge fight.
Yeah, so
but he couldn't get in there with somebody like
90
Woodley.
seconds.
He couldn't get in there with somebody like Woodley or like McGregor or like any of the upper echelon guys. I mean, like Nate Diaz or somebody, or Nick Diaz.
So
Diaz, no way.
No. So this kind of confirms that he actually did have that talk with Dana White.
Yeah.
That he denied that he had.
Right.
Because why would he be training in MMA right now?
Right.
I guess that there's a big offer on the table for him potentially, so that's why he's doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Huge offer. And Joel Lopez in the chat just asked, is CM Punk a lot bigger? Yeah, CM Punk is a lot bigger. He's about 170. I think he's about 170. He cuts down to 170, 175. I think it's 170, isn't it, Beeb?
He fights at 170, yeah.
Yeah. So he cuts down from like 190, you know. Yeah, and he says CM Punk's walking around in 200s. That's possible. It's probably more like 190. But he cuts down to 170. I don't know. If you're going by like CM Punk's like WWE weight or whatever when he was wrestling, it's apples and oranges. Those weights aren't even factual anyway.
They're not real weights.
Yeah, they make up weights in there, so you can't really go by what they say. But he's going to fight at 170. Rumor has the CM Punk's going to be on the card in Chicago. But I think those kind of fights can fly. Robert, do you think this actually happens? Does Floyd actually get in the cage?
Yeah, well, it kind of looks that way. I don't know. But he's talking about training, and now he's talking about I don't know. But hell, if Dana White offered him like $300 million, why not? Why not? And let me talk about the Ali fight for a minute. I like that fight, and that's the same night that Vasily Lomachenko and Linares fight also.
Yeah. This one's coming from let's see here, Verona, New York, and Lomachenko. I guess that's going to be on ESPN, maybe. Yeah. Yeah,
that'll be on ESPN. So we'll have double cards that night.
Very good, man. Very good. I love that. I love that fight. I love the Ali Smith fight, man. That is going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
Saddam Ali, friend of the show. And shout out to the greatest Muhammad Ali. His grandson? Is his grandson? Robert?
I think it is.
I think it's his grandson. Plays for the University of Michigan. And they are in the Final Four. So Michigan, Boomaye. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. You can catch Joe Habib at Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week. Also, before I get out of here, and I almost forgot this, next Sunday is Easter. So we will look to do the show on Saturday, probably around 8 p.m. after the Joshua fight, okay? So look for us then. We'll post it online and everything like that, and we'll let you guys know, but it will be on Saturday, not Sunday, so you guys can enjoy your Easter. We will see you next week.